Now, if you're anything like me, which conveniently I am, then you're probably autistic, or you have ADHD. Said underlying mental health conditions have left me with an absolutely psychopathic craving for dopamine and serotonin respectively, and through a series of random events, I would begin to heed this craving and quench my primal thirst. This craving would lead me to some rather interesting places, but I suppose functionally you could just call said places the general Overwatch community. Hey, what the That leads us neatly to this game, Overwatch. Have you ever been looking at an FPS and thought, what if I could be a monkey? Or have you ever been looking at a monkey and thought, what if I was a cowboy and I could stun and execute him? Well, that is essentially the premise for this game, and when it works, the dopamine flows. Over the past couple days, I have been placed in what many might refer to as a shit rank, and seeing both my serotonin deficiency as well as my general lack of IQ, I have made it my mission to climb out of this evil hole where I was first condemned. You see, in Overwatch, there are 9 different ranks. The usual plebeian scum metal ranks: Diamond, Master, Grandmaster, Champion, and Top 500. Upon getting a PC for the first time and thinking I was kinda pretty okay, I placed in Gold 2, and unfortunately, I could only fall down from there. Being unhappy with my current circumstances, I rectified my situation the only way I knew how. Self-harm to the point of near complete ego dissolution. So let me take you by the hand as I guide you through the trials and pitfalls of being 18 years old and having absolutely nothing better to do with the remainder of my existence. We start our journey in the West Chicago of Overwatch, Low Gold, Kings Row. I am matched with a group of fellow degenerates who are also awake at 3 AM. With the confidence and spring in my step, I skip over to the point and almost immediately succumb to fatal vaporization via Tracer. And both because I am a narcissist and because it is probably true, my absence caused us to actually lose that team fight. You'll come to notice this a lot through this game. We lost first point in record time, and after looking at the scoreboard I was introduced to the spectrum of intelligence one might encounter in Low Gold. The final team fight of our round, I pop a high noon, demech the diva, and snipe the tracer. Functionally I made it a 3v4, but unfortunately I was playing with stage 4 cretins, and by some dark magic we actually lose that fight despite having a massive advantage. Are you beginning to see the issue? I take a look at the scoreboard and it really speaks for itself. You'll come to find I diff my team in most games. It's almost like I do not belong in this rank, but I am prevented from climbing because I got the DPS that went 0 and 7, and you got 2 DPS smurfs that were doing an unranked GM challenge. Regardless of our current disposition, I propose a plan to my teammates and our DPS, walking respawn timer, and they switch to Sombra, and she clearly understands the assignment. The tank will go in guns blazing and cause as much havoc as physically possible. The healers will focus solely on him, and I will snipe everything as a fast, seeing as I'm the only one capable of getting any kills. Now, did this plan work? Well, we had to lose a couple fights, but eventually I killed 4 of them and I won the fight for my plane crash survivor teammate. It's looking rough, but somehow we execute optimal teamwork and disintegrate everyone with a pulse within a nautical miles of the payload. We get to the checkpoint, but it's looking extremely rough even if we do, by some strange Martian method, get into the final checkpoint. We will have to contend with them for 3 entire minutes while we get 1 minute max. Our Anna tries to comfort our Sombra by saying, "Don't worry, no one is perfect," to which I kindly inform her that 10-17 is a lot less than not perfect. I whiff high noon and the enemy throws Bob, leading to my inevitable death. I check the scoreboard and see that the biggest tank difference since World War II. Looking back, I genuinely have no idea what I could have done differently other than not push up so aggressively, but by the will of our Dark Commander, I have no earthly idea how it is humanly possible to not have a kill for the first 3 minutes of the game. And speaking from experience, I don't think even Noah had to carry this many animals. But anyway, on to the next game. The next game, I was matched with teammates that wanted to coordinate and voice chat. and it was actually unreal how we managed to win this game. Look at this. Me and my brothers in arms load into the new Queen Street push experience, eager to play yet another game of Overwatch at 6 AM. I get over to the point and completely fumble the easiest Lucio kill I have ever seen. This would go on to cause us to lose the fight, but I'd refer to it as a tactical loss. So, after tactically losing our first team fight, I slither behind the enemy team and frag Mercy, then completely fail to do anything else, and Lucio drops the beat, leaving me with a 10-second respawn timer and the walk of shame that follows it. Upon doing functionally nothing for my team, they execute optimal teamwork and wipe the enemy team. Looking good so far. We push up a bit and then I dink their Ashe, causing her to stop exuding signs of life, and I then get put in my place by Tommy Junker Queen. Looking back at the scoreboard, I was kinda selling it for my team. I mean, I had 3 times as many deaths as almost everyone else on my team. And while walking back, I want to just quickly talk about something, you know, there's something that bothers me in this game, and it's really stupid and nobody likes it. And imagine my utter fucking shock when this very thing occurs. This is Widowmaker. Personally, my least favorite hero in the game, but unpersonally, completely balanced. I don't like Widow at all because she is such an obscenely oppressive hero, and even if she is balanced, she feels incredibly frustrating to go up against because she punishes you simply for playing the game. She does not need to position, and if there's a long corridor or line of sight, you suddenly become as useful as the ejection seat in a helicopter. That is to say, dicey. But anyway, I die, the French make an attempt on my life, and we make it back to point. Mauga drops Cage, and I high noon. I panic as Lucio drops beat, and the high noon focus in mechanic starts making me sweat profusely. After I'm done focusing in and I've appropriately combated my anxiety, and I really don't know how, managed to eliminate their queen. 4 remain. I roll and pop a cap in the Lucio. 3 remain. Seeing as this fight was basically won, I decide to search for any stragglers, and I pop the Bastion in the process. The fight is won. Peace can be returned to this lobby. If we can just do this, it can be our victory, so long as we can just hold on and beat their length. I roll in. Fan the hammer. Bastion falls, but I'm low. I knew this play was risky, but I was very quickly reminded of how unfortunate life can be when I reached 62 health and the big Australian woman started looking at me like someone with autism looks at this game. But I managed to escape their chicanery, and Anna the homie heals me back to an acceptable amount. The queen slides out of the room next to us, and I set out to finish what I had started when I click her head and she gets utterly game ended. With their tank and main DPS down, the enemy retreats. The fight is won. All we need to do is push and we will win the game, so long as we can maintain our position. They try another flank and I kindly inform them that they are not welcome here, and after that, we took the lead. Relief crosses over my forehead when I realize that we are in the clear and all we have to do to win is not fuck up for 180 seconds. So we hunkered down, gathered our blood, sweat and tears, and fought valiantly for 3 whole minutes, securing the win. Now here's what really happened. We randomly get scared and start falling back, leading to the enemy pushing to, functionally, the spawn checkpoint, meaning they are very close to taking the lead back and causing us to lose. Fortunately, we catch it and push it back here. In the process, Mauga manages to eliminate their tank and I manage to snipe the living jump scare known as Widowmaker. After that, we pushed up even further, much closer to our furthest. I rest for a mere moment before out of the fucking rafters, Junker Queen slides in and frags half my team in 4 seconds. I decide it's better to reset for my team, and we all charge back to point, and the enemy team is dangerously close to taking the lead and ruining it for us when Reaper imitates a Beyblade and he receives the complimentary Overwatch experience. I get widowed, and I begin to feel my eye twitch and my skin melt. Fortunately, the Anna and the soldier did the nanovisor ult combo and single-handedly won the fight for us. The fights are beginning to get a lot more intense, and with only 30 seconds left, we were about to experience the most intense fight of the game. So how did it go? Well, I discovered my watch was a minute slow when it was not high noon, and it was in fact 12:01. This leaves my team in a state of disarray. It's getting very dire as the enemy pushes all the way up to within 3 pixels of the final checkpoint. Not only that, but we are in overtime, meaning if they even touch it, then they will be the ones who win. The Reaper gets antied by the Nana, and is on the brink of death, but it's just not enough when Anna falls to Reaper. It's a 3v4, and we are down a support. I accept the game is lost when... Wow. Okay, what the fuck? So the enemy team was actually so focused on getting me and Anna that they completely forgot to stand on the robot, causing overtime to run out and them to lose the game. 10 out of 10. Next game. Although this is the third game you are seeing, it is actually the fourth I played. I won't be showing all the games purely because some of them are boring and I don't want to torture the viewer. So, Hybrid on Eichenwald. This map is my goat because the end of Eichenwald is a vague reference to my YouTube username. Thanks, Jeff. Now you've seen me be on the receiving end of having bad teammates. You've seen me have decent and coordinated teammates. And now you get to see what happens when I am let loose in a lobby where it is in fact the enemy team whose skill is lacking and uncoordinated. So yeah, I ended the game with 50 kills, 0 assists, 14,000 hero damage done, and a 44-14 accuracy ratio. Not the greatest accuracy I've ever gotten, but we rolled this game harder than someone below the age of 30 rolls a derma roller on their receding hairline. Oh, and that song is copyrighted by the way, so I hope you enjoyed that section disproportionately more than the rest of the video. Look, I even snagged play of the game. This is game 6. The previous game was awful and on Esperantia, so we lost. On my team was the same guy I was ruining not 2 games ago, Nixo. Also, I'm pretty sure that guy is a Genshin Impact YouTuber. I just checked and his channel is gone. Oh, also we are matched against Mum and Dad apparently. But anyway, Route 66 is tied in first place for my favorite map because I have an autistic obsession with Cowboy. I mean, look at my hours. We are on defense and I'm feeling pretty good admittedly. So far the comp experience has been extremely interesting. Looking back at these slightly older matches from when I was a little bit newer shows me a lot of shit that I was doing incorrectly. This is not one of those games, and is basically a repeat of our Eichenwald game. Compared to Overwatch 1, this game is a lot more counterpick heavy, which in all honesty, I don't mind so much. If the ops pick Widow, you'd better bet your bottom dollar that I will be spawn camping them until they switch, because I enjoy turning around corners. Also, it feels like people never die sometimes. This never seemed to be a problem in Overwatch 1. At least not that I can remember. But I only ever hit level 200 and peaked in Plat, so I'm a bit of a shit really. For those of you that don't know, firstly, I don't know how you made it this far, congratulations. And secondly, Overwatch 1 had 6 players on each team, and Overwatch 2 has 5 players on each team. Way back when, the developers over at Blizzard were likely hard stuck in gold themselves, because most of the reason that they claim to have made a 5v5 format is due to a meta called Double Shield. You see, back in Overwatch 1, and these are the dark times, Orisa had a shield with 900 health on an 8-second cooldown. Now, one of the other tanks, Sigma, had and still does have his shield. The idea was that you throw down Orisa's shield, and when it breaks, Sigma puts his out. And if both are destroyed and you're off cooldown, Baptiste would use his immortality field to make sure everyone survived. Personally, I would have just reworked Orisa to not have a shield, but apparently the developers were too busy working on Overwatch 2 to make any major changes. 3 years later, Overwatch 2's story got axed and Overwatch 1 was deleted forever. I really don't know why they decided to do that, and fun trivia, this is also why Overwatch 2 is the lowest rated Steam game currently. But anyway, we lose first point, and so far I have prevented the Echo from playing the game even slightly. And this is counterpicking at its finest. Because she flies, literally all I have to do is shoot her out of the sky. Because as I'm sure you are aware, there is no cover in the sky. The enemy team pushed the payload an alarming amount forward by the time I had arrived. The Echo, angry that I had insulted her, copied our diva and tried to rush me, but fortunately my team really had their shit together and she barely made it 5 meters before getting sat back down. I snipe Sojourn, Echo kills me, I get rezzed, we bum rush Echo, and this is the exchange that we had in chat. By this point their push has failed and they all get to do the walk of shame. Second fight of this point, we make extremely quick work of them with me clipping Zarya with my good old 6-shooter, and that actually concludes round 1. They didn't even make it through all the checkpoints. In chat I say I'll give mum my phone number if they won because I want a girlfriend and I am cripplingly lonely. I didn't plan for the disposition that this was probably a man, and apparently one thing worse than my respective family issues is my need for a mill. Todd stops playing Overwatch and round 2 starts. The enemy team had both switched to McCree and Genji, both to diff me and to counter me. Unfortunately for them, while I am incredulously autistic, I don't have Parkinson's, so I ended both of them with my aim. I payload princess the point to the checkpoints and we are almost winners. They didn't even really put up a fight for this next part, so we just kinda did some of this, and some of this, and a little bit of this, and high noons top it off, and the easiest win of my life. Next fucking game. So this is actually the last game I'll be talking about in this video, and you will see why. Hybrid on Numbani, a classic. What could possibly go wrong? Well, a lot, as it turns out. We lost first points pretty much instantly because my team thought it would be a fantastic idea to go into a small room with Genji, Moira, Doomfist, and Reaper. This resulted in them trying to get out of said room and ended up in everyone being split apart extremely close to the enemy spawn. Gotta love gold. Our Reinhardt shatters, stunning the Doomfist, and I take it as an opportunity to fan the hammer into his Malteser ass head. Unfortunately for me, he got nano boosted, and little known fact, for some reason, nano boost gives you 50% damage reduction. Fundamentally, all I did for the Doomfist was pleasure him and give him a nice little tickle. 2 minutes in, and our tank has yet to actually get a kill. Next fight, the Doomfist fumbles a punch, and I put 12 bullets in his body and give him the shortcut to the inevitable destination of all mortal existence. As usual, Ryan is inside of their spawn for some reason, but it's okay because we won. Next fight, I get killed by Moira's skill ball and begin the walk of shame back to point, except I actually don't get back to point at all because Reaper was waiting for me for some reason. So after walking out of spawn again, Reaper and his micro penis were waiting for me around the corner yet again, and because of this, the cage Mauga used was not something I was able to combo with. By the way, if you play Reaper like this, you are a shit person, and I think you should consult professional help to deal with any fatherly issues you might have. Either that, or you're free to take a swan dive off the highest roof you can find. We did lose round 1, but they only have a minute and a half to cap in round 3, should we push the 3rd checkpoint. And round 2 begins. Our tank switched to Zarya. So long as you know how to push up with her, when to aggro and when to chill, Zarya is basically impossible to fuck up. The team fight starts and I instantly send Reaper back to spawn. Gotta look out for number 1. Our team just deals with them, and within the span of about 4 seconds, we had killed them all and capped first point. Zarya gets Orisa and Zen, and I get Reaper and Moira. By the way, it really isn't hard to understand how counters work. I mean, Orisa is like the only character in the game you cannot headshot, and Zarya can't headshot. She can also only do continuous beam damage, which also goes through Orisa's spinny thing. And why switch to Zen? Why am I asking questions? It's going well. We pass first checkpoint with almost 5 minutes to spare. So long as we can just push it up and continue to farm them, it's basically a guaranteed win. Anyway, Reaper tried to Ted Bundy me, but I had pepper spray and sent him back to his gay little beetle. My team locks the fuck in, and Zarya throws Grav at the door, stopping them from leaving spawn and winning us the round. This is the first time I've showed you an overtime situation, and I'm not sure how many of you play this game, so I'll explain it to you. If both teams successfully capture the points fully, the time they have left over from those rounds becomes the time they get to capture the point in a third and fourth round. So, if you captured the payload with, say, 4 minutes, you'd have 4 minutes to capture the point again, as far as you could before the time ran out. Unfortunately for the enemy team, they only had a minute to our 4, so yes, it's basically in the bag for us. So how did round 3 go? Field got folded pretty much instantly at first point, and hope began to dwindle pretty rapidly. I run back to point and nearly get fragged instantly. Fortunately, our Moira bailed me out and we continued to fight. We were stuck in a bit of a stalemate, but eventually I got high noon and scared everyone away. Apart from Sombra, who tries to hack me. I showed her my revolver skills, and that was the end of that. Kiriko uses Kitsune and Zarya uses Grav, sealing the round for them, only pushing up a little bit. Thusly, round 3 is concluded, and we are in high spirits, knowing damn well that we can overcome this adversity. So round 4 begins, and we are all fired up. Synapses going apeshit, neurons firing. Just pure fucking willpower. Though I warned my teammates not to jinx it by being cocky, little did they know. Little did I know anything of the sheer fucking magnitude of figgity fuckery that was about to occur. So we charged the point, weapons in hand and comrades in arms, when I was disconnected from the Overwatch multiplayer experience. I had my mic on during this session, and it captured this sound from me. So, this concludes the first episode of this series. I will reach plat eventually. There's a lot more games I didn't include in this video because this is the first video I've ever made, and I didn't want to overload myself with a 2-hour shitpost epic about Overwatch, of all things. As for my thoughts on comp, at this point I was extremely dissatisfied with the games I had gotten. I get most kills basically every single game, and it's rare that I personally struggle to play my part and hit my shots. It's mostly my team that just cannot pull their own weight. I know I'm not extremely good, but fucking hell, you've seen some of the absolute specimens that I have been matched with. Sombra going 0-7 in round 1 is probably the icing on the cake. The issue with comp at lower rank is nobody can counterpick effectively, so you'll play into hard counters quite often and nobody will do anything about it, thinking their teammates are the issue. I kinda fell for this myself, even in Numbani. In chat I told Ryan their entire team countered him, and while yes that was true, the entire team could dive and kill me in seconds, sleep my high noon, and just be a bastard to deal with in general. Whether you like it or not, counter swapping is part of the game, and refusing to do it is kind of throwing when you think about it. It doesn't mean you are any less skilled for knowing more about the game. Think of it as just using the right tool for the right job. You wouldn't try to shoot Farah as Junkrat because that would be stupid and I'd break your little fingers for trying. But yeah, the next installment will probably come soon, and I want to try doing this as sort of a career, despite the copyrighted music I just used. So if you made it this far, I have 0 subscribers, and I'd like that to change. One day, maybe I'll set up a Patreon or something, but for now, this is just kind of something I want to try. With that, thank you for watching this shit, and it would be nice to have your company again.